the first book that you published, 9 out of 10 climbers make the same mistakes. Simply, why did you write the book?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's quite a long time. It was around 10 years ago I wrote it. And in the years preceding that, I was travelling around the UK quite a lot, doing coaching sessions with a lot of climbers. I really was doing quite a lot of climbing coaching at that time. I mean, I remember just having conversations with climbing friends and my wife as well, and saying, you know, I really am just saying the same things to climbers. People would ask me about details of training, and people still do ask me about details, like as you have been about, you know, fingerboarding, like should you fingerboard with a bent arm or a straight arm? They think, well, okay, I can think about that question and maybe I can answer it, but also I'm not sure if is that the most important thing? What the theme that was emerging was that the things that seemed most important to me were often completely hidden, or not even things that they would worry about. I mean, one that I talk about a lot in the book is fear of falling. I remember having many coaching sessions with climbers who were very eager to ask me about details of training and like how they could refine their program. Like, you know, how can I tweak my endurance sessions to be slightly more effective? How should I do my fingerboarding? We'd be climbing on the rock, and I'm just thinking, finger strength and endurance is not your problem. Like I recall like one example, like having a few sessions with a climber. Her goal was to climb her first 13B. At first I was watching her climbing on the climbing wall for the first time, you know, the first kind of hour. And inside my head I was like, I don't really understand. I don't understand. She's strong enough to climb 14B. It's just obvious, like, her fingers are strong as steel. Like, this can't be the problem. Like, that, you know, because her goal for the meeting was to find out how to get strong enough to climb 13B. Immediately saying, you seem more than strong enough, like far more than strong enough. This can't be the problem. But as soon as we went actually sport climbing, it was just immediately apparent. As soon as her waist went above the bolt, it was as if she was soloing. She was climbing as if she was free soloing. And I was like, well, yeah, this is where we need to focus. For some people, it was just movement technique. They were just not seeing the obvious way. They would miss the knee bar, or they would miss that you could match the hold in that way, and just the small details of sequences. Stepping back another layer, I could see that in general, these were like more behavioural things than details. It was more about the general approach to learning climbing. So, like, for example, in learning technique, I always think of it, the goal is to try to understand climbing. You think, well, why do you place your foot on that part of the foothold? And when you did that attempt and you were on the crux and you turned your knee in slightly that way, or turned it out slightly, why did that help? You observed that it helped. That sort of hunger to understand that is really key, and that's more of a kind of behavioural thing. And the book is in a kind of almost like a blog style, where it just kind of goes through all of these examples, and the idea of it was to try and get people and keep people on the right track of what makes the differences. So it's like setting the right habits that allow you to both continue to get strong, but also to stay healthy and learn good technique and all of these things.
I would love to ask, so you wrote that book a decade ago. Is there anything that you would edit or change?
Almost certainly, yeah. I mean, okay. I don't think I would actually add that much. I would probably just write another book. I think another observation I made was that in many cases, like, there was one or two single things that were huge weak areas in individual climbers. And you could, you didn't need to write a whole training program. You could write it on a post-it note. It's like that example I just gave you. It's like, sort out the fear of falling.
Yeah.
And you're sorted, you're going to be brilliant at climbing.
Yeah.
You've got everything else dialed. Like, you're really like kind of tinkering at the edges of the real details of, you've got almost everything right, but you've got this huge thing to fix. And if you get that, then you'll just be flying. I mean, there's no doubt that these small details, they matter, they have an effect. But I still wonder if, like, instead of worrying about like protocols and grip types for fingerboarding, if people just worried about getting really high quality sleep, that would have a bigger effect. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm sort of more thinking along these lines these days.
Are there any mistakes from the book that you still catch yourself making?
Oh yeah, many all the time. I guess like a constant bugbear is the quality of rest.
Okay.
Like having good quality rest is very difficult, and in our modern lifestyle that we're all kind of going through, it's just getting harder and harder. There are so many calls on our attention, and it's very, very easy to spend vast amounts of time staring at a screen trying to absorb huge amounts of information. and that can be both distracting from thinking about other things that you could be thinking about that are beneficial for your performance, or it can just be detrimental to your sleep, just straight up sleep. It's just lowering the quality of your rest. And that means that if you do the same amount of training, it's more likely to get you injured, or you're less likely to respond well to it than if you just do the same amount of training with better quality sleep. So that's a huge issue for me, because I'm just busy like everyone else.
You are much busier than everyone else. At least it seems from my perspective.